everybody. Welcome to episode 21 of Are We There Yet? Before we get started, I want to remind everyone to subscribe to the show and to go to our Instagram and to like and follow there. And all those links are below. And doing so puts you in the running for our Vibratex toy giveaway. You can learn more about that by watching the giveaway video. We're really excited. We're going to give away a toy once a month until we run out of the toys. So please be a part of that and we hope you win. All right, let's get into this. The Drunken Love episode. I'm your host, Susan Ruth.
I'm your host, Mara Adelman, and we are two humans having the real conversations and raising the questions that we all have about where is the there when it comes to dating, relationships, and sex.
And today, what are we doing?
Today we're gonna get drunk. This is tequila. She's got some gin, and we're talking about drinking and dating and alcohol and dating and just alcohol use in general and how it can get in the way, or sometimes not, of dating, relationships, and sex. Yeah,
that's right. And you learned something interesting about our amounts of alcohol that we drink.
Yeah, so blew me away. I was like this many years old when I learned. Recently, I tend to drink a little more than I should. So I've been measuring and I'll have like a 2-ounce pour of wine. And then I realized when we were getting ready for this that we were going to have shots. And I was like, oh, I had to look it up. A normal shot is only 1.5 ounces, which is this little tiny shot glass.
It's up to here on this glass.
Right? And then I realized this is 2 ounces of liquid in here. I poured 2 ounces in here. That's probably more like if you're at the bar and you're going to get a shot of tequila. And sometimes if I'm ordering like a Manhattan, it'll come in like all whiskey, right? What is, I don't even know, 6 ounces probably, 4 to 6.
I mean, that's a lot. Yeah. That's
And
certainly maybe a cup almost. I don't know. I'm not good with it.
Something to be aware of is not, I'm going to go out and have 2 drinks. Maybe it's, I'm going to go out and have 6 ounces, because for me, it's a lot. So they make these jiggers where you can measure, this is 2 ounces, this is 1 ounce. I'm just starting to pay a little more attention to how much instead of how many was my lesson in all of this.
Well, that's a good how much versus how many. I like that. All right. So we're going to drink while we have this episode to show how it affects us. You have a little bit of a higher tolerance than I do because I don't drink all that often, but we're going to match each other, correct? Are you doing what, 1.5 ounces?
This is 1.5 ounces. I'm not, because this is a standard pour for spirits or liquor. They usually run around 40% alcohol.
Although every bar I've ever been to gives us twice as much.
That's my point. But if you're at home, like this is a normal amount, people.
Right.
And so,
cheers.
Salud. Oh, I like this one. Arriba, abajo, enfrente, adentro.
It's gin, so I'm not going to slam it. But...
Oh yeah, you're slamming gin. Oh, tequila.
I love tequila. If I had any on hand, I only have this really not so great tequila.
Oh yeah,
I don't want to drink it because I don't want to feel ill tomorrow. So Hendrick's gin is actually a really lovely gin. I know you don't like gin.
Oh, I don't drink gin.
But this is a lovely one. I joke that I knew I was a grown-up when I started liking gin because my grandmother drank gin, and I thought, oh God, that tastes terrible when I snuck a drink. And then at one point in my life, I went, oh, I kind of like it. I'm a grown-up.
To me, it's just floor. So I'm the weirdo who's like, if it was up to me right now, I'd be having a Manhattan and I would be drinking it the entire time we're talking. But I love whiskey more, but tequila gives me less of a headache. It feels a little cleaner of an alcohol. I don't know. I feel less bad when I drink tequila.
I am a martini drinker.
Yeah.
So depending on my mood, it will either be a vodka, slightly dirty, or if it's a gin drink, I will do either a Gibson, which is with the onion, or I'll just do it with a lemon twist.
Yum.
Now, if I'm having Mexican food, I will probably order plain old tequila, a silver tequila, like a nice high-end tequila, but I won't put like salt or lime, and I'll just drink that like a sipping, almost like a whiskey.
You hit it on the head. So what I realized lately about myself is I prefer alcohol with my food. And I can't do that if it's my day off. Like I'll have a fabulous salad with 2 ounces of wine, or if I'm having Mexican food, I'll have this much tequila and this much beer. To me, alcohol pairs with food. Might've been because I lived for 28 years in Napa Valley and it just does. But what I realized is I was doing that with my meals, plus having 2 glasses of wine at night. not measuring. I think there were probably 6 ounces. So now I'm having 3, 6, 9 plus 12. It's too much alcohol in one day. And so now I'm just down to where I have a little bit with meals and I'm measuring out, and I don't need to have it at nighttime as well.
Yeah, I mean, think about the wine glasses that you get served at restaurants at dinner, and usually they're firstly the glasses are big and they're really excellent pours, and you don't notice. That's the other thing when you're eating. I don't know that you notice. So if I'm on a date with someone, you know, I try not to do more than 2 drinks when I'm on a date.
Me too.
Period.
Yep.
But you bring up an interesting point in that if the pours are stronger, then what does that mean? So then you have to really check in with your body. How do you feel? Are your wits about you? That kind of thing as well.
Which is a harder thing because especially if you're on a first date, you're in the moment, you're trying to get to know each other, and usually you're nervous, so you're drinking it faster. And I don't know about you, but if I'm going to go eat, I haven't had food. So then you add the lack of food. We link down below to a picture that shows like a regular beer has this much alcohol, a malt beer has this much, a glass of wine, and kind of what a normal size pour is. Pay attention, because I'm telling you, it's not normal when you go out. And I do this thing where I'm like, I don't drink and drive, but I'm realizing now that I've been driving buzz possibly, because I say, okay, well, I'm only gonna have 2 drinks over like a 4-hour period, go out for a little bit, come home. I'm gonna, again, be paying a little more attention to that. So maybe my new rule is 1 drink on a date.
Yeah, don't drink and drive for sure. There's lots of ways to get to a place that don't involve.
So the thing is, I would generally Uber always if I plan on going out and having more than that. But to me, I can handle. But also we link down below to a quiz, and when I took the quiz and put in 4 1.5 ounce drinks over like an hour or 2 period, I'm already over the legal limit.
Oh, based on a body weight and things.
Oh, yeah. Like that. Yeah. You put in your body weight. There's a calculator down there. You put in your body weight, how much you might drink when you go out, and then think about when you last ate. I was at 0.09 based on my stats after having 4 of these little drinks. Okay. Already past the legal limit for driving. Crazy.
Yeah. And I feel that I would be impaired. Probably, I think I would start being a little different after 1 drink, certainly impaired at 2 drinks. So again, it just depends on tolerance level and your weight and all that sort of thing. The other thing too is for safety's sake, and I know we had an episode on safety and dating, which is episode 4, but just even getting into Ubers and Lyfts, that makes me a little, if you don't have your wits about you, that makes me a little nervous too. Maybe I'm being hyper vigilant in that, but you know, it's something to think about.
Right, because explain like the episode 4 where you talked about being roofied. That was
I got roofied at a party. Yeah, and I'm sure this happens to everyone. It's not like it's a gender specific, but I've had girlfriends who have been roofied to terrible consequence. So, like anything else, it is just always be aware, you know. And unfortunately, we live in a society where sometimes even the people you trust the most are untrustworthy, and that sucks too. But the whole point of this isn't to be terrifying, but to just say, hey, you know what? You're going to notice us acting a little different as we go, as we're drinking the alcohol, and so that you can see how it doesn't take a whole lot to start changing.
Well, like right now, I feel a little like my belly's a little fuzzy. I feel a little happy.
My cheeks feel warm. Yeah, I haven't even finished my first one yet, but I didn't. My last meal was at 1:00 in the afternoon. It is currently 5:00 in the evening. So
I ate at 1:00 too, but I had like it was a pretty big like brunch food.
Me too. I had big meal.
Protein. So that'll be interesting because we had a decent meal 4 hours ago. Generally, if I'm going to go out, I'll have some food and tons of water because I know that I'm going to have a couple drinks and I don't want to feel bad. But sorry, going back to the date rape kind of stuff, we are putting a link down below about drinking and spiking drinks and stuff to read through about how you can stay safe with that.
Yeah, and also be aware of what's going on in your surroundings. If you see something weird with strangers, like let's say somebody gets up to go to the bathroom and you notice someone else doing something to a drink, whatever it is, say something. And also there are little code words that you can say to bartenders that say, hey, I think something's wrong. I think it's called an angel drink. If you ask for an angel drink.
You told me that before. Yeah. Angel drink. Mm-hmm. I just know that, like you mentioned, and you mentioned the Uber thing. when I do Uber, it's usually because I'm going to have 3 or 4 drinks. I have a higher tolerance. So for me, that is not falling down. That's pretty aware of where I'm at. But again, I think that we underplay where we're really at when we've had 4 drinks.
I think so too. I was just going to say what we think we are and what we actually are kind of like right now. I'm like, oh, I'm fine, but but you know, after we're going to go for trying to get 3 or 4 in before this episode is over.
Ready for number 2, only because we're on a time schedule.
Are you ready for number 2? Okay, I'm almost there. All right, I'll be there after this sip.
I'll pour it, but I'll wait for you because I don't.
I'm pouring.
Again,
by the way, I'm drinking gin straight like a lunatic.
I know. We're over here like gin and tequila. So I've always had an interesting, I don't know where your alcohol history started, but at 13, we lived in a very small town. There wasn't a lot to do. And all of my friends started drinking. We hung out at the river and this fun amusement park, and we drank and we drank and we drank. And I just realized, I haven't stopped drinking since 13. So I'm actually going to stop for a couple of weeks because I have a surgery, and it's going to be liberating. And I'm already cutting back. It's almost like you have to be aware of something. Like, I don't feel like I have an alcohol problem. I have friends that have had to quit. And I always said, I just want to drink just enough that I never actually have to quit.
Yes. But right. It's gonna be liberating, and it's gonna be liberating. There we go.
Liberating. My liver is gonna be very happy for that.
Number 2.
Cheers, darling. I love you. Happy drinking.
I love you. Happy drinking to you too. Yeah, I think my first drink, besides the parental, like, oh, try this alcohol, ha ha ha, look at your face. The first real drink was in 7th grade with friends, and casually drinking just for fun at various parties or whatnot that you got invited to, like the giggly kind of parties. Mm-hmm. And then I would say by 16, I would say everyone was drinking pretty decently to get drunk every weekend. And I think that probably went, and stoned. My God, I smoked so much weed in high school. Holy moly. And did LSD, but that's a whole other show.
If there's little youngins listening to this, sorry, not youngins, adolescents.
Anyone under the age of drinking.
Which is interesting that this episode actually was 21. It was not planned. If you are under the age of 21, it's okay to say no. It's okay to wait till you're older. Like, we are not telling these stories about how we were drinking at young ages because it's what we should have been doing.
Oh no, terrible idea. Terrible for your body, terrible for your growing parts and all that.
And the nutso is not pretty. So the amount of time, so again, I can hold my alcohol. I've never fallen down. I've never passed out. I don't puke. Well, sorry, I take that back. If I drink too much, sometimes I'll wake up the next day and feel like I need to and do a little puking.
I've had a couple of those.
I know, but the amount of young people and older people that I've been at a bar where they are falling down in the bathroom, falling down drunk, mostly women. I've seen it with men. Men are usually the ones getting in a fight, which is really annoying. But when the women are falling down, as a medical provider, I'm always like, oh man, don't ruin my night. And then I got to go make sure they're okay. Like, they're not going to.
Also, alcohol abuse in the LGBTQ plus community is quite high.
It is.
Understandably, that's a sort of a numbing thing, probably, and a feeling of freedom and all that. So yeah, I think it's interesting too, who you are around affects the alcohol consumption. A friend of mine came into town, and this person is an alcoholic for sure, heavy drinker all the time. I don't think can be social without alcohol, as far as I can tell. And when I am with them, I told them, I said, the drunkest I've been as an adult, hands down, was with this person. Yeah. The drunkest, the most hungover, not ever blacking out. I only blacked out once in my drinking career, and that was when I was 16 at a party, and we drank some god awful mixture of wine and probably like soda pop, whatever it took to get it down. But yeah, I'm not really a drinker now as an adult person, but yeah, I have with this particular friend tied it on because let's not kid ourselves, it's fun as hell.
It is until the consequence.
I try to drink water in between every drink.
That's the key right there.
Yeah. And you bring up a good point too about communicating that it's okay to say no. And I know that's sort of like, just say no, and it's harder than it looks, but it's interesting when you say to someone who is a big drinker, oh, I'm not really drinking tonight. If they get mad at you, it's because of how they feel about themselves and their own drinking. It's nothing to do with you, you know?
100% hit on the, so I've dated, unfortunately, several people who had alcohol issues, to the point one time, like cooking me dinner, and then I'm not home, and I come home the next week, I'm cleaning the house, and I find like 6 beer bottles hiding under my chair that had like a thing, because he didn't want to have me to see how much was in the recycling, like true alcoholic tendencies. We link to a quiz down below. Am I dating an alcoholic? I have dated at least,
God, so many.
1 for sure, 2 that were probably in the middle. And honestly, to this nowadays, I've dated several people who are sober. My current there is I'm kind of dating somebody who doesn't drink, and I think it's amazing. It means I drink less, like you said, based on who you're hanging out with. And it also means that if I want to go have a couple drinks, he can drive. It's fabulous.
Yeah. I've dated a couple sober people, and again, I'm not a big drinker, but it's weird how it kind of makes you think, oh, you know what? I could just drink water. Who cares? You know?
Yeah, I drink less when I'm dating somebody who's sober. And and also, no offense, and I don't mean to be gender biased on this one, but it feels like it holds true most of the time. Women usually aren't the ones who go out and have like 12 drinks straight. And
I disagree with you 100%. I think when alcohol is wrapped around social activity, sporting events, brunch, bridal showers, baby showers, where maybe mom to be isn't drinking except for just one. I mean, I've heard that a lot of times in the South. Why can't I have just one? One is fine. It's like, oh, okay. I don't think that's true, but you do you.
I also know women who drink a lot. I just find that like, if I had to pick between a guy who's sober and men that overconsume, I'm definitely always going to pick the sober side for sure. Because it's highly annoying to me when somebody's drinking that much. I don't appreciate it.
Well, and alcohol changes people's personalities, even if they think it doesn't. In vino veritas, in wine there is truth. In whiskey, I think there's fisticuffs. In tequila, there's consequences. In gin makes me sin. So in gin there is, sex. So I have all these
around having sex with later, Susan.
Oh God, yeah, myself. In the gin. No, but I mean, I'm just saying, in wine there's truth, and then I think that every alcohol does certain things to certain people. I have a friend who, when he drinks whiskey, for example, he gets angry, kind of violent, and hostile. But when he's drinking tequila, he's happy-go-lucky. So I think I don't know if that's true in real life, but it seems like certain liquors provoke certain beasts from someone.
I have had enough experiences with people that I agree with that. Yeah, I do. And unfortunately, as you pointed out, I was having a thought and I lost it. Sorry. Oh,
so it began.
I want to know it's already beginning. See, I want to know what your tells are. How do we know when Susan's when Susan's had drinks? I kind of know my tells, but you'll have to tell me if it seems accurate.
Okay, well, we'll see how this progresses. I think for me, I get maybe more giggly, probably I start punning more, which is, nobody wants to hear that.
Oh, your puns are great. No, I love it.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think also it depends on who you're around. Do you get more quiet? Do you get more boisterous? A lot of people are under the idea that drinking provokes more social, or provokes more creativity, or these sorts of things.
Right.
I think we will believe whatever tale we tell ourselves, whether or not it's true.
Ah, that's valid. I definitely get louder. I'm already a loud talker. And then when I've been drinking and I'm around somebody who's sober, they're always like, shh, take it down 5 notches.
Yeah.
So I get more gregarious and louder and happy. I'm always happy. I don't get like all angry or weird, or a lot of, I've been at bars with a lot of, again, to gender women who start sobbing. And
God, the crying. Yeah.
The crying and the emotions. The most annoying thing I find is that whole concept of people tell the truth when they're drinking. I fell into that trap when I was hanging out with somebody for a long time, an ex of mine, who wasn't very true about his feelings, but then when he would get drunk, he would be, but actions never actually lined up with the drunk words. So I was like, I don't think I buy that anymore, that people speak only the truth when they're drunk. What do you think about that?
I get truth texts, but they don't amount to anything in the light of day. And then people have regret.
Yes, I call it a shame over.
Although I was out not too long ago, and this was right before Christmas time, and I had 2 martinis, which is my limit when I'm out and about, and I knew I was going to be at this place for probably 7 hours. It was going to be a long haul, and because there was writers at a bar, and we write, and then at a certain point in time, then we start cocktail hour, and then I know what my cutoff is. But regardless, I started texting with a friend of mine, and I drunk ordered them a t-shirt because it's something we said to each other in the text, and it made me laugh. So I went on a Google search, and I was pretty damn buzzed off of the 2 martinis, because 2 martinis is like 5 drinks, really.
Well, again, if you're measuring,
it's probably a hell of a lot, And then we get
it's not 2 of these.
It's not 2 of those, and so it's just funny. I was like, oh, I buy people gifts when I'm drunk. It's just hilarious. It's not a good idea. Not for myself, for them.
I know,
no gifts. I have to give a shout out to my friend Tiffany, who was, I'm sure, sober when she sent this.
Oh, it's so cute. Squirrel. My dog would be like, squirrel, and chasing after it.
I love this sweatshirt.
Do you have any hot flashes yet? I'm definitely
I am warm, which is funny because my apartment has no insulation, and it's cold in the winter, and it's chilly in here, but I am warm as can be.
You get totally cheeky when you
I do get cheeks. I get cheeks. Yeah. We've already forgotten what all the things we said we were going to talk about. Oh, so my alcohol score, I took the do you drink too much score, and I got it on the quiz below, and I got a 3, and it said I had a low score of tendency toward alcoholism, which that's good. I come from a family of alcoholics, but I often say that nothing interests me enough to do it all the time. So alcohol, drugs, running, working out, nothing keeps my attention long enough to make me go over the top with it, which I suppose is good.
That's a good habit to have, especially when you come from a family. My grandfather on my mom's side drank too much. My mom drank too much.
Yeah, my grandparents.
On your mom's side?
It's all my mom's side.
Yeah, my dad's side barely drank. And I, like you. So my score, there's a quiz down below about alcohol use test, how your alcohol is. I came up in the medium score of a 9. So if you're a 3 and I'm a 9, God knows what the 20s are. Because again, I don't ever have more than like 2 or 3 a day, but that's still too much for a liver. So again, going to be cutting back, but it's interesting. Yeah, the whole concept. We also did put a thing about, there's a link down below for alcohol use disorder that talks a lot about like ways to mitigate that, ways to not do that, all that.
Yeah, I got to tell you right now, I am now not quite done with the second shot of 1.5 ounces, and I am definitely feeling it, for sure.
I feel, and I again have a higher tolerance, but I'm even feeling it. Yeah, a very embarrassing shame over story. I think I told you this one where I had 3 drinks, and I don't usually video date somebody on Bumble without like a setup time, but he happened to say, hey, want to meet on a video? And I was like, I've had a couple drinks. And he's like, that's fine. So as we start talking, I realize I'm way more buzzed than I thought I was. He shares with me, he's like 8 months clean and sober.
Oh God.
I was like,
that's a bad confluence.
It was bad. I was loud and gregarious and in the camera. I'm like, oh, this is so much fun. And when I'm like, oh, you live local, let's go for a hike. He's like, totally, let's go for a hike. So 2 minutes after we're off, he totally deletes me off of the entire thing. I think
you were super triggering for him, probably.
Well, and I was just more drunk than I think I thought I was. Again, you think like this is number 3. I already feel fairly buzzed. I don't need 3, but we're doing it. Ooh. I think people need to be careful when you're dating, because what if he could have been the man of my dreams, but I turned him off by being too drunk. Again, it wasn't meant to be.
But you have a cocktail every night, right? You're a daily drinker.
I've started only kind of having it with food now, and then maybe small one at night versus just doing it at night. Yeah, I'm trying
to
to
actually measure it out, or do you
trying to measure it out? Yeah, I'm using the jigger. I'm measuring out like 3 ounces of wine. I don't need 6 ounces of wine. Again, that's a normal glass of wine is, what is it? I forgot my glasses. 3 to 4 ounces of fortified. Oh no, that's port. I love port too. 5 ounces is a normal pour for wine. And I'm pretty sure I was giving myself 6 or 7 ounces every time. And when you go out at a restaurant, it's like 7, 8, 9 ounces. Sometimes it's a huge pour.
Yeah. So a fourth of a cup. So a fourth of a cup is 2.5 ounces. So so think about that, like when you're out at a restaurant or something, what that means. I don't know if you can hear, my neighbors are having a party. I don't know if you can hear it in the background. Ironically, there's a party going on.
There's a party going on. I mean, seriously, like that's, where are we at? 8 ounces. That's 6 ounces right there in a very wide jug. Anyway, the bottom line to all of this.
Is that ironic, or is that serendipity that they're having a party? I think that's serendipity and not irony. It'd be irony if they were all getting drunk, which I don't know what they're doing. Because they're all over 80. Not that 80-year-olds can't get drunk, but they're in a home. So yeah, there must be celebrating Valentine's Day or something. Well, I don't know what February brings, but
that's awesome. They're out there partying. You are already a cute drunk, I can tell. You're super cheeky, your cheeks are red.
Oh, they're so warm.
We are not on here advocating for drinking people. We are advocating for
knowing what it does.
Knowing what it does and drinking appropriate amounts, especially on a first date, especially in a relationship. I've had several relationships ruined by drinking, but for the other person's drinking. So it's really about like, know how much you can have and still be a normal human being.
All right. So how do you have the conversation with someone about alcohol? I think that's something. I have a friend who I've noticed when I've gone to events at their house, they get very, very drunk, and I can see the concern in everyone's eyes. And I think, to the people that are even closer to this person than I am, I think, I wonder why they don't talk to them about it. You know, there's a lot of stuff around alcohol. There's so much stuff. So how do you have that conversation? For example, when you felt like you were drinking a lot and stuff, would someone have been able to approach you and say, hey, Mara, I think maybe you need to tone it down? Or do you think you would have been like, fuck off? You know,
I don't think I've never drank into a level where anybody has ever, again, I drink too much, but I drink about socially what a lot of people drink, but it's still too much is my point. Sure. Now, there's all these people who are drinking, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 a day. I also know 3 people personally who died in their 40s of cirrhosis. So as women, we're only supposed to have 1 drink a day. As men, you can get away with 2 drinks a day, and that's based on body weight and the way we metabolize things. So as a medical provider, I've known for years that I shouldn't be having 2 drinks a day. It's too much for my body. But I like it because I run on the anxious side and it brings me down and makes me all happy and mellow.
That's self-medication.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I can also do that with meditation and exercise. And so I have brought it up with other people who are drinking too much, people I've dated and stuff. And it's never
goes well.
It doesn't go well. I don't drink too much. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, that fight we had last night that you don't remember because you were drunk.
Right now, your video just went blurry, so I thought that was very appropriate.
Oh, it did that thing again. I'm on number 3, and I look different. I feel different. Yeah, I think I read cues less when I drink more. Don't you find that? Like, I'm pretty good at reading people because of what I do for a living, and if I'm drinking, I might not catch. Like, I didn't catch that guy wasn't serious about going on a hike when we're on that video date. Because I wasn't.
He might have had afterthoughts, though. It might have been.
No, it was literally a minute after we got off. I'm telling you, shame over. I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be on a video date when I've been drinking 3 drinks. That's embarrassing.
All right, look, you're all blurry. We got to get you back.
Hold on. Or I just stayed.
There it is. Perfect. You got it.
Cheers, darling. This is my third.
There's something about your camera that adjusts when your hands motion. It's a motion sensor.
Oh, so sex drunk is fun, but again, less likely to orgasm for men.
Less likely to orgasm. I don't think I orgasm as well if I've been drinking.
And if you're a man, less likely to get an erection. They call it whiskey dick for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of reasons not to include so much alcohol in our life.
No, let's be honest. It's a poison. It's terrible for us. It's a cruel joke that it is fun and that it does feel very releasing and carefree.
Yeah.
But everything in moderation. And if you are waking up in the morning and you have to drink, then regardless of anything else, it will kill you one day. It's so horribly bad for you. And I think I speak for both of us when I say we'd like you to stick around. So
Yes.
Although I have a friend who's upset because another friend of theirs just went to rehab and left them high and dry with some work stuff. And I said, well, they can't help it. And my friend said, yes, they can. You get to make a decision and you just stick to it. I said, no, this is a disease. They can't help it. They can get to a point where they think, okay, now I need to go and get help, because it is very difficult, I think, for true alcoholics to get there by themselves. I think it can be done. I think it is done, but physically, the body, it could actually kill you. If you are used to drinking heavily daily, then please seek professional help to get sober, because you will actually, the DTs that's a no bueno. It will mess you up and it could kill you. So it's certainly important to get professional help if that's a decision that you want to make. We're supportive of that, I think. And, because we want you to stick around and we want you to live your best life. And it is very hard on the body to drink like that.
Lost a patient to DTs once upon a time. And one of my very good guy friends, who is now clean and sober and so much happier and healthier, was drinking so much that he, unfortunately, when he quit drinking, had some very large grand mal seizures. And so, yes, if you are drinking to a point where you have to drink, where you wake up and your hands are shaking, where you need alcohol in the morning, you for your health wise need to go find help to quit. Like, you can't just quit that on your own without having possible bad consequences.
Yeah.
So,
and I for me, like, when I had that conversation with my friend, I'm like, you know what? I said, this stigma, this thing you're saying, is part of what keeps people from getting help, because there is a lot of guilt and shame around it. And it's a complex issue, because not only is your body addicted, but your mind, whatever it is you're escaping from, it's complex. And for all of us out there who have dealt with alcoholism in their life, I mean, I was raised by an alcoholic, a hardcore alcoholic. My mother she was violent and depressed, and it was very tough to grow up in that situation. And she still drinks, but not like she did back then. She's much more chill in her old age. But growing up around that is very difficult. So if you're a young person watching this and you have a family member, a parent especially, that has got this issue, I feel for you. There are resources. There's Al-Anon, which is for people who are families of alcohol, in the family when there's alcoholism. It's weird to be getting drunk and telling people about resources for like alcohol, but I think these are important conversations. So.
I did not link to Al-Anon in our resources down below, but I will. That's a good point. And especially for young people, like, looking back, don't you find, so if we take it back to kind of the dating, sex, relationship piece, looking back, the decisions I made to get into relationships with people often involved alcohol that got the whole ball started, which means I wasn't really paying attention to, like, is this a good fit? You're drunk and you like each other, so you hang out, then you have sex, and then you're drinking because you're young, but you're not actually making wise decisions. I was in a 3-year relationship with somebody because we started out drunk together on a New Year's Eve, right? Like, but it's like you fall into things easier if you're drinking. Does that make sense?
I think, yeah, because it sends the gatekeepers home.
Yeah, gatekeepers are gone. My gatekeepers are still pretty good, I think. We did link to down below how to know if you're drunk, and it's one of those like WikiHow pages. I like those. Like, can you put your hand to your nose? Can you stand on one foot? So you can check those out when you've been drinking.
Sit on one foot.
I can't stand really well on one foot balance when I'm not drinking, so I wasn't going to try that one. I
I
think
can tell that this alcohol that I have taken tonight has affected me for
you
sure.
want to stop at 3 and not go to 4. I'm
No,
happy.
I think we got to do the long haul. I
Okay,
think
we said we were going to do 4.
you said 4, so I want people to see what 4 does to us. And of course, the way alcohol works, however we are behaving now, in another hour when we're not going to be on the screen because nobody wants to sit through 2 hours of us doing this. I don't think that we're going to be even more.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get some food in us. I might order a pizza. You also make weird food choices when you're drinking that you wouldn't eat normally.
Every time. I was already thinking about carbs later. Like I have like a good little like vegan, like ravioli thing, like a Caesar salad with croutons. Yeah. As soon as you start drinking, if you have any weight loss goals, they're going to go out the window.
Well, and alcohol has a lot of calories.
And alcohol has a lot of calories. It's
all right. 3 done.
Oh, you did 3. Okay. I'm not going to do 4 yet. I'm again, my tolerance is higher.
I have no idea how long we've been doing this for either.
We've been on for about 35-ish, 40-ish minutes, maybe.
We're pounding it pretty good. Which we wouldn't do in a real circumstance. We wouldn't be sitting there on a date being like, bring another.
Although by now, wouldn't you if you were on a date?
Oh, I guess because the pores are bigger.
Yeah, the pores are, well, yeah. So I might have already finished part of a cocktail. I
would have been done with the first cocktail by now.
Yeah, by now on a date, and it would have been twice that or twice a normal. And then you move into like food, and I'm going to want some beer or wine with my food. And yeah, anyway, my goal is to drink less and to watch out when I'm dating. Again, like I was at this music thing a week ago and it was indoors, and I'm watching this girl like literally like falling down, and this person's up there trying to sing, and she's hitting these pictures and they're falling and crashing, and I'm watching everybody get detracted from what they're trying to do and trying to like, okay, you're okay, put her against a wall. And then I watched her the whole night bumble around, fell 3 more times.
And look how vulnerable that is. Anybody could.
I got her some water and kind of kept an eye, but anybody could take advantage of that.
Yeah.
She knew people there, which was a blessing.
Yeah.
People kept looking out for her. But also, can you imagine the shame over when people, she won't remember that. Oh, remember when you fell down 4 times at a music event? Tiny little indoor music thing.
So I've looked up what blackout is, and blackout isn't that you pass out. Blackout is you enter a fugue state that you don't remember anything that happened. So you could be fully walking around, experiencing life, doing stuff, but not remember anything. It's a fugue. Your brain just checks out this. It attacks your short-term memory. So it basically is a eraser for all of that.
That sounds about right. For many times, I have never blacked out, but I've forgotten pieces.
Yeah.
I've never blacked out, but again, I don't know if that's because I've drank for so many years that I just have always had a tolerance and I've never got to blackout phase. I don't know.
It's really hard for people in our lives that are alcoholics, that are really suicidal. I think that's a suicidal behavior.
Yeah.
And it's so difficult to watch people go through that because we see their beautiful potential and who they really are, and they can't see that for themselves. And so they're burying themselves in the alcohol or drugs, I suppose. And it's so hard to stand by, but you can't. There's nothing you can do to make somebody get sober. They literally have to come to that realization on their own. You can put someone in rehab till the cows come home, but until they're willing to do it for themselves, it's not going to stick. It's just not.
No. How many people do you know? Like right away, 5 people come to mind that I know that are severe alcoholics.
The music started next door. I don't know if you could hear that. I mean, I can, at least 5, probably more for sure.
2 friends that have gotten more than that, 3 or family members too. 4 people have gotten clean and sober, and their lives are definitely better based on that. And again, I've lost 3 or 4 people that I know to cirrhosis, not even naming the patients that I've lost to cirrhosis. And that is such an ugly way to die. You bloat out, not to make this no fun, but your belly gets all big and you're yellow, and liver disease and failure is not a good way to go.
My eldest, my half brother, he was a heroin addict for years. and then finally kicked the habit after 3 tries, but was an alcoholic forever and kicked heroin, but couldn't quit alcohol. He ended up having a massive stroke. And when he came to after being in a coma, he didn't really remember that he had been a drinker or a drug addict. And so all that stuff was gone from him. However, no matter the fact that he doesn't really drink anymore, like he'll have a drink maybe once every time I've been around him, I've seen him maybe drink once in every couple weeks. Like he barely does it and doesn't remember that he was an alcoholic, but his body it's got the cirrhosis belly and like all that stuff is still present in his body, even though he's not sober, but just not where he was.
It's interesting because he forgot. The brain allowed him to forget.
Well, no, the brain didn't forget. The brain got exploded.
Yeah. I think I'm going to have 4. Is it too soon?
Yeah.
We should finish up in about 10. So I'm like, I guess I'm doing 4. I'm going to have a fun night. What are you going to do? I think I'm going to go make a yummy meal and I'm going to
probably need food after this.
Oh, yeah. A yummy meal and hang out with my fabulous animals.
I wish I had a dog right now. I would love that.
My 2 cats and 2 dogs, and maybe dance around the house and practice the guitar and have a fun little buzz night at home all by myself.
There needs to be, how cool would this? And I know you'd have to be vetted, no pun intended, but there needs to be a DoorDash, but for animals. Like when you're like, oh, I need a cuddle with a dog tonight, you can DoorDash a dog or a cat or something. And then they come and you've been vetted, so you know you're not like a crazy weird animal killer or something. And you just cuddle with an animal. I know that there's foster care, but I'm talking like a one-off. Wouldn't that be so awesome?
You should patent that. It would be the kind of animals that are not scared of anybody, that love going into the nursing homes, like they're really sociable and loaned out for a night to go cuddle.
Like a fuzzy bunny or something, or a ferret that's been despelled. I hear skunks make great pets if they've been descented.
I know, but isn't it?
I saw somebody that had a pet armadillo the other day, and you're all blurry again. Or is that me?
It might be you. No, it hasn't gone blurry in forever, and of course it's going.
We need you a better damn camera. Damn it.
Doing. No, this is the second one. They both do it.
Oh,
I don't know what that is. Ready? Number 4.
L'chaim.
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 I can't do it right because my daddy didn't teach me well enough. It's because my mommy is not Jewish. L'chaim.
L'chaim. My mommy's not Jewish either. My dad is. Did you do Hebrew lessons when you were a kid?
Never.
Oh, I did all that crap. No, crap. Sorry. I not crap. Stop.
I recently, my dad is older and kind of failing a bit. And so I videotaped him doing the beginning prayer. That's always the, yeah. I don't know it, but I do have a menorah every year. So I videotaped him doing that because I don't want to forget that he can still remember his Hebrew from his bar mitzvah, and he's 91. And
I'm so excited because for Hanukkah, I found a gluten-free challah bread. This is what I don't get.
Like you're way ahead. So you're like, I'm going to already order up for the.
Listen, like half the Jews are freaking Ashkenazis, at least, like myself, are celiac. It's like we're celiac and we're making people eat bread with literally every meal part of the prayer. It's like, no, what the hell? There should be a gluten-free. I actually came up with because I can't do communion either. When I go to do, I know I'm not supposed to because I'm a mix. I'm an Episcopalian and Jewish, but I can't do the body of Christ because the body of Christ isn't gluten-free. And I was like, well, that's not fair. And the Pope actually said that gluten-free Eucharist doesn't count. And I thought, what? That's so rude.
That's rude. I'm making myself blurry again. Ready?
I'm blurry. I think.
Oh, I definitely buzzed.
Hold up the thing, I'm a bobber, and see if that. There it is. Oh, I thought that would do it. I don't know what makes it come back to normal. There it is. You got it. It's the eyes, baby. Those magical eyes.
This girl's going to have number 4, and I'm not going to text anybody or try to go on a video date or call anybody when it comes to dating because, no.
My mama's the bottom of number 4. Drink 4 faster. That's the other thing you do too, right? The more you drink, the faster you drink.
Yeah. And sometimes you don't have a turn off clock at that point because you've had so many that you're like, woo, three more.
Woohoo. Well,
okay. So I think we covered it all.
It's been fun. I think we've I don't know what we've done for anyone other than giving them an hour of very weird YouTubing.
Well, hold on. No, we've talked about how only have less on a date, have less in regular life.
Or none.
Sorry, people that don't drink, either none or less when it comes to your life, when it comes to dating, especially when it comes to trying to have conversations in a relationship. If you want to have good sex, you're going to have better orgasms and better erections. If you have less or none, the whole point is to have less or none. This is as we have four.
Wait, less or none orgasms?
No. Less or none alcohol so you can have more orgasms. The answer is always more orgasms.
Oh my gosh, this has been a lot of fun. See, unfortunately, drinking is fun. And so it's a mixed message we're giving here, but we're glad to have it because it's important to talk about safety.
Yep.
It's important to be careful of it. Never leave your drink unattended. Never, never, never take that stuff to the bathroom with you. If you have to, do not leave it unattended.
I'm the OCD girl that covers it with a napkin and then takes it to the bathroom because I don't want the bathroom germs in my drink.
That's fine. That's fine. But as somebody who has been roofied, who is a smart gal, I tell you, it's the worst ever. And I'm so lucky. And I have friends that, like I said, were not so lucky. It's a real thing. I don't think women are the only folks that get roofied. I think just human beings it happens to. And so be safe out there. I think they developed a nail polish apparently that's supposed to read for that kind of thing. I don't know if it works. I don't know if that's a lie because I don't know if that's a real thing or not. I feel like some science is evolved enough that there must be something out there that you can test your drink, but it sucks that we live in a world where we have to think about that stuff. But
also you touched on the fact that transgender LGBTQIA communities have a much higher risk of violence and a much higher risk of these things happening to them. And so if you are of that tribe, watch your drinking because unfortunately you're already at a higher risk of violence. You don't want to have the alcohol play into that because we want everybody to stay safe and happy and have a fabulous time. And so to remember, maybe 2 of these is an appropriate amount, or 2 small glasses of wine on a date, or some places now you can ask for a 3, 4, I can't even talk. We did it. We got drunk. Woo!
You finished number 4?
I did.
Oh shit. Okay, hold on.
But so also, I can tell. I can tell that you are definitely a bit more buzzed than me, but let's go back to it. I drink more, so I have a bit of a higher tolerance. I weigh more than you by a fair amount. And so when I put your numbers in to the alcohol, based on 4 of these within an hour, I'm at 0.09 and I would get a DUI. Based on 4 of these for you in an hour, based on your weight, you're at 0.12, you're at 0.12. You would be way over the legal limit. So it's based on your weight, it's based on your gender, it's based on how much you've eaten, sometimes how much sleep you've gotten will make you feel either too drunk or not too drunk. So you have to factor all those things in. And especially if you're on a date, you don't want to put off a bad impression because what if this person could be a really good fit and
it's not even about for me, it's not about even a bad impression. For me, it's all about safety, honestly, because people are going to either accept you or not accept you, whatever. That's on them.
Yes.
Yeah. So that guy, for example, where you're like, oh, I screwed it all up. That's on him. Yes, he's newly sober. So it's understandable that he's like, oh shit, this chick is drunk, and that freaks me out because he's newly sober. I get that. But I have plenty of sober friends that are fine if I drink around them. My mouth feels really weird right now. So
you're hitting your thing and your camera's shaking. It's like, oh. That's fucking cute. So no, and I didn't, it's less about caring. Honestly, as an empath, I felt worse that I made him feel uncomfortable
Totally get that.
Than feeling like I somehow blew like a fabulous date. I truly believe the universe finds you your person whenever that's supposed to happen. But especially on a first date, everybody's trying to make a great impression. It's harder to make a great impression when you're drunker than you should be.
I agree with that completely. Yeah. I mean, alcohol is a poison.
Yeah.
It is a poison. This has been a very interesting episode. Thank you for watching, everyone. Be safe out there, stay connected, make good decisions. If you or somebody you know has a problem with alcohol and you're ready to seek help, then seek help, because we want you here for a long time. And just know that you're loved and you're understood. And I know it's fucking hard. I get it. But you're worthwhile, and it's worth it to step into sobriety if it means you're going to be around. You're valuable and you matter. I think that's so important to say. I have been drinking, so I'm a little extra right now, but it breaks my heart to think that anybody doesn't see themselves of value, because we all have something to offer, and alcohol can maybe numb that thing in you or make you see yourself as less than. Nashville's own just lost somebody to alcohol, somebody who was very beloved in the town. Alcohol can kill, and it doesn't have to kill by drunk driving. It doesn't have to kill by, you get it. You get it. I don't all this stuff.
Based on
waxing poetic.
As a medical provider, you hit on something also important before we finish out. If you already suffer from depression, alcohol is a depressant. You're going to be more depressed. If you suffer from anxiety, it's going to help in the moment, but oftentimes later you're going to have rebound anxiety. So it is not a good tool for self-medicating out of those things. Mm-hmm. And so,
and we've had 4 shots, and look at how insane we are.
So, again, 4 small shots, because they're only 1 left. So we're going to sign off. There's going to be a ton of links down below to find support, to find out how much you should be drinking. I did put one fun one on there, just because we are talking about sex, dating, and drinking. Best drinks to order on a first date. But again, no drinking is fine. Limit your drinking no matter what.
Yeah, no drinking is totally fine. Do whatever works for you. And we're not here to judge it at all. That's not the point, obviously, because we just got a little shit-faced on this episode. But we did it. Mara, am I right here, where it's like, we did this because we wanted you to see how quickly impair happens.
Now we should do one more thing.
Impair, is that the right word?
When you're impaired. Now, ready? On the count of 3, we should stand up, because we haven't even stood up yet. And when you stand up, oh yeah, I'm dizzy.
Well, okay, hold on. I'm going to show my sweatshirt then.
Sweatshirt again, yes.
I can stand up, but I'd probably be a little wobbly.
I'm wobbly. So again,
now I'm thinking pad thai over.
Oh, I'm still on Italian. It's an Italian night. I love you so much. Everybody.
I love you so much.
Connected. There's going to be a bunch of links down below if you need help or resources. We love you all.
Thank you for watching, everybody. Please subscribe, follow, tell your friends, pass this around to people. If somebody in your life has an issue with alcohol, I know it's a tough conversation to have. It's a worthy conversation to have. And if you are suffering and you need help, we're going to put links below of somebody you can contact, to maybe, whether it's rehab or talking to someone, or maybe it's Al-Anon if somebody in your family. We're going to have all that information below for you. Thank you for being a part of this very weird experiment. We appreciate it.
All very much.
Yeah, and we love you. I love you, Mara.
I love you. I just got
again.
Yeah. Have a good night.
Bye.